Hello, everybody. My name is Digmbot, and welcome to our brand new show. This is Opposing Views. Now, I'm joined by a couple co-hosts, the lovely Scarlet Dragon and Lonesamurai, and Nekokitwolf, who you may recognize from the Dimecast. Now, you may be wondering, well, Dime, this looks like a podcast. What exactly is the deal here? Well, we thought about doing this as a podcast, but figured that we wanted to kind of have a little more control over the conversation. So, Opposing Views is a discussion, an open and honest discussion, most importantly, about the roles of genders in gaming and how they're portrayed, as well as sexual orientations in gaming and how they are portrayed. Now, this is intended to be a free and open forum. We will have a variety of guests in a rotating guest pool, with myself probably being one of the only constants. There will be game developers joining us to give their own viewpoint. So, this is intended to explore those aspects of the gaming culture. No opinion is going to be off limits, and no opinion is going to be valued over or under another on this show. So, to kick us off, what we wanted to talk about right off the bat on Opposing Views is where do we think the gaming industry kind of is in general with the way that it represents straight, gay, lesbian, bi, transgender, asexual, pansexual, transition, and also the roles of a woman or a man in games today. So I want to start out with Scarlett.
I think it's improving on both sides. I don't know whether that's because thanks to things like Twitch and YouTube and that, you get to see the people that are playing your game. So you might notice that some people are more effeminate, some people are more masculine. And it's generally representing what market research couldn't. But from what I've seen sort of 10 years ago and today, it's improving to be more inclusive to people of different genders, orientations, and ethnic backgrounds as well.
Lone?
Um, well, it's generally improving, but there's still a horrid underbelly of shit, to be fair, in the video game industry and also the music industry. So it's not exclusive to the video game industry. Yep.
Fair enough. Nico.
I agree with Scarlett that it's improving, but they've more been delving into gay. They have not gone to trans or any of those type of characters yet. We've hardly even scratched at it because I think people feel like there's going to be a huge ass backlash, and that is a deep fear.
For myself, I definitely agree with that. I think that, and I've been playing a lot of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, recently, and one thing that's always refreshing about Gearbox is that a lot of the characters are gay or whatever, and it's never really made a big deal of it. It's just a thing. But as you said, we haven't really scratched the surface of transgender or anything. It's better than it was definitely when I was growing up, and better than it was 2 or 3 years ago. But there's still an awful lot that can be said there, and I think it opens us up to kind of, and we're going to weave these two topics together. Kind of the first thing that we wanted to talk about, and we've jokingly called it the chainmail bikini conundrum. It's the fact that as you play, I think a lot of this host group do, MMOs, RPGs, or fighting games, we all play those. That Connect camera on Lone and Scarlet. If you're wondering what's going on,
I know,
folks.
It's like we've got a drunk cameraman.
Yeah.
It really likes me.
But
this guy's.
what was it you said, Lone? You said that the more armor a guy wears, then the more better protected he is in a video game. But the less a female character is wearing, apparently the better protected she is until she's down to just the chainmail bikini.
That's how it works, because on a man, every part of him is fair game. On a woman, there are parts you don't hit.
But wouldn't that kind of like, I mean, if my belly's not going to be hit, like, does that mean they're going for my breasts?
Yeah.
Like, the more armor on my breasts, then clearly I am more protected, because there's nothing like cutting off a breast in a battlefield.
I'd be more worried about the heart, to be fair.
Fair enough.
The heart's here.
Yeah.
A bikini does not cover. I mean, look at the top I'm wearing. It's not particularly low cut. My heart is here.
Now people are going to be looking at your chest, honey.
Well, the Connect's doing a good enough job.
Yeah, to be fair.
It is.
But no, on a serious note, though, is that the chainmail bikini, especially in more Eastern
Korean
games,
MMO. Korean MMO.
Well, not just Korean, but also Chinese and Japanese games, especially from the big MMO houses like NCSoft. They're especially bad for it because of Lineage. But the thing is that, Lineage, for instance, the first one was shocking. But also, there's a recent one as well where it's all women, and they're all very much, pretty much. There's a big mix of cast, but they're all in various states of undress.
Well, we were comparing Western ones the other day. I play a lot of Skyrim, and Lone plays a lot of World of Warcraft, and especially sort of the older models that haven't been patched.
Yeah.
We were comparing sort of like male and female armor in Skyrim is pretty much identical.
Mm-hmm.
Like, might be a little bit curved inwards to show it is a female figure, but it's not. It's not bad. I mean, the most naked armor I could find for anyone that plays Skyrim was probably the Forsworn armor. The difference is the women have their chests covered, sort of breast area, whereas the men just wear like a animal fur skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in WoW, chainmail bikini does exist.
Yeah.
It's not found in Skyrim. If you take all your character's clothes off as a female, you're wearing a bra and panties.
Yeah. So it's the same in Guild Wars and WoW. Guild Wars 2 actually isn't so bad, but in Guild Wars there was the chainmail bikini.
It's interestingly, it's not the same in WildStar. In WildStar, if you take all your characters' clothes off, male or female, they're going to be down to just their skivvies. I mean, bra and panties for the female characters and just underwear for the men. But you guys have seen the screenshots of my my two characters, my Spellslinger and my Stalker. Both of them are female, and both of them are covered head to toe in incredibly imposing armor. Now, you know what what Eastern developer is really, really, really bad about this? Team Ninja with the Dead or Alive series.
Those bunny costumes. Those no costumes. Literally straps on the nipples.
No. It goes further down than that. The boob physics.
Yeah, the fact that there is someone who programmed so much into just the jiggling.
Well,
is
the
quite
fact
scary,
that
because they don't seem to do that for overweight characters.
Oh, they do.
Really?
they do,
I was
but
watching you play Borderlands 2 the other day.
well,
Oh yeah, but Elsa's cool.
there was
Ella, sorry, Elsa's that frozen chick.
there was also the fact that in one of the Dead or Alive games, and this is an exact example of how things have gotten better because it would never fly today, but when you turned your age all the way up, and the age is what adjusts the breast physics in that game, that's the new way. There used to be one that was just the breast physics thing, and the final option was quote, like waves lapping upon a shore.
That's horrific.
Yeah, it
I'm
was.
just picturing boobs going.
Have these people not seen breasts?
Well, they're Japanese fighting game developers, so draw your own conclusions.
Prove the point though. Dead or Alive beach volleyball. That was a game. Yeah.
It was a game.
One
In
of those,
gambling, you can gamble away all the money. This was fun.
one of those fighting games that you guys recently mentioned, they put tights on one of the female characters. Those type of fighting style games.
A lot of them.
I've
Yeah.
seen one of the characters in trousers, and suddenly she's wearing trousers.
Well,
Oh,
I may have dreamed it.
no, we were talking about Heroes of the Storm and the fact that they've changed Jaina's character model from wearing her normal skirt.
She
Sorry, I
wears
thought that was more an
she's
Eastern game.
a mage in World of Warcraft, and she's always wearing a robe. But for some reason, in Heroes of the Storm, she's wearing trousers.
Yeah.
Which makes her look a little bit weird because she's always worn a robe.
I think that's
not a skirt; it's a robe.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about, was how just that change in the character's traditional model kind of weirded us out because it was so nuts. But so one thing I want to steer us back a little bit is we've kind of jumped ahead to the Japanese versus Western. We'll get back to that. So we've kind of laid out kind of our opinions here, but especially Lone and Nico and I, with me doing an indie game show for Sanitarium, and Nico just being Nico, and Lone, for the way that you play games as well. Triple A's versus indies in the way that they handle this stuff. And I think this will be an interesting conversation because it's, in my opinion, it's all over the board. Borderlands, arguably a huge AAA series. They handle it in a very matter-of-fact way. They don't throw it in your face. They also don't belittle it. And then you've got things like, I'm pretty sure that we're not going to see a homosexual character pop up in Call of Duty anytime soon.
Well, I don't know. They've got Taylor Kitsch in the game, so.
But
Don't ask, don't tell, and all that shit. We're not going to see a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, you've got Gearbox, you've got BioWare, fantastically up there with that, and also Capcom.
Yeah, which is just insane because Capcom is so bad at everything else these days.
But
Wouldn't things like Call of Duty though, your sexual orientation would just be absolutely pointless to be mentioned in the game either way. I
yeah,
mean,
Well,
it's
but
personal.
here's
If you're gay or not, that doesn't advance the storyline. Whereas a more story-moded adventure one, um, sort of, like in, for example, Skyrim or WoW, and that you go and search for mates. So you're not doing that in Call of Duty. You're a very bad soldier if you're hitting on the enemy.
well,
I wouldn't have thought
Um,
it'd be relevant either way.
as a counterpoint, how relevant is it that Ella is Ella's orientation, or if you're playing pre-sequel, how about Janie Springs? Does it actually matter that Springs is a lesbian? It
no.
doesn't
I
affect the
suppose
story.
particularly not, but it makes for a dialogue. Like with Ella and the fact that her brother Scooter fancies her and has hit on her, which is why she moved out to Badlands, which I was kind of shocked about that. But anyway, my small little world there. But still, that gives you have a dialect in that sort of game. So you learn about the characters you interact with. In
Fair
Call
enough.
of Duty, you're shooting the enemy and you're backing up your teammates. I don't see
Mhm.
where
well,
that sort of dialogue could take place unless it's small shit chat. Hey, I fucked a guy last night. Well, good for you, man.
Well,
That kind of seems like kind of
yeah,
out there.
true.
but another big one, and going back to Capcom, Poison, the fighting character from Street Fighter and Final Fight. There's a dick in there in those trousers and jean shorts. There's a dick in there, and Capcom have been quite open about the fact that that's a trans chick.
Yeah, they have, and I would think that Poison is probably one of the only characters I could pull to mind that fits that role, and of course, being
And
Capcom,
Poison is
she's
hot.
yeah, I was gonna say
Let's be honest, Poison is hot.
she's hypersexualized. So,
Oh, yeah.
Nico,
I think Poison's hot. But
Yeah.
let me make the point of BioWare. BioWare may have the okay, you can choose to be gay route, but a big problem, they do over sexualize their females.
they
still.
do, they do.
Like they still do that. So it's like, oh, but we do this, but we still also do this. Now buy our money in fab.
Yeah, I could give you that a little
I'm
bit.
not better.
Yeah, you timed that badly then, didn't you?
Sorry.
Now,
I'm straightforward when I talk about this stuff.
No, it's fine. I just timed drinking tea incorrectly.
now you have other things that I can think of, like Hero Generations by Scott Brody and Heart-Shaped Games. So the entire point, and it takes a different tack. The entire point of Hero Generations is that every time you move, you lose a year off your lifespan, and you have to find a mate and have a child before you die. Now the interesting thing is, very rarely does
Tokyo
the game.
Jungle?
What, Nico?
Tokyo Jungle does the same thing. I was just joking. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
Okay. Anyways, the point is that very seldom does Hero Generations use gender pronouns at all, and the character models are very gender neutral. So Scott is kind of taking, and it's not really. I don't believe it's a statement on his part about that, but it's a very interesting choice art-wise because I know Scott, from what we've talked to him, he really wanted you to be able to kind of have unique characters, and this is a way for him to do that and have them randomly generated, and they all pretty much look gender neutral, and it's a great game. So I think that's kind of an opposite end approach to what we kind of see sometimes.
Can I just say, there was a cute little Facebook game that I started playing, but for I have no idea what reason, but it was discontinued. Magic Castle. You got to choose whether you were the prince or the princess, and you got to choose who was trapped in the castle. Was it the prince or the princess?
Oh, so that's cool.
And that was quite unique. You got to choose who you rescued, and then you were trying to woo their affections. But you got to pick that. They were all blonde and white, which looked a little bit creepy, but
Well.
you kind of got that choice, and it wasn't a major issue. It was like, who is trapped in the castle? Is it the prince or the princess?
Yeah.
I thought that was
That
that was the first time I
relationship.
kind of noticed that I had that option. Sorry, Nico, what were you saying?
I don't.
Another studio that I think, and stepping away from the sexual orientation for a minute, gender roles in general. As much as I really disagree with them sometimes about a lot of things they do, Ubisoft, Child of Light is a fantastic game, and the main protagonist is not only a female but a child, and it's an amazing game, and the female character becomes extremely powerful. So I think what's some other ones? Well, like I play Borderlands with Maya
Okay, but
and
right,
Nisha.
going back to the board before we move on, the thing with Ubisoft is Ubisoft have always made good games.
Mhm.
They're just shit at producing them. and
Well,
actually putting them out there. But that's a
well,
whole different debate that we've had many a time. And hearing you rage is fantastic, but that's a debate for another time. But
well.
Ubisoft, the people who make the games are actually really good. They're really on the ball with these things. It is just the production and their Steam ripoff.
Let's not forget the fact, though, that Ubi are the ones who said, well, the reason there's no female assassin in Assassin's Creed Co-op is because it would take us too many assets to program it. Too
What
much
they
money.
actually mean is we're leaving that for a DLC later on.
We could say that,
Yeah.
but honestly, why not add it to the game? Are you saying
That shouldn't be something you have to buy to be able to choose.
But let's be fair, they've already fucked the game up. The faces fall off the character models, so
Oh god, that was creepy.
it's so creepy.
You're
Ah!
watching those like characters falling through the map.
budget for the models. Clearly,
Yeah,
that's why
they didn't have enough budget on the models to put a female or a face on there, so.
One person at a time. Yeah, the model thing is bad. Nico?
I already said my piece.
I know, but nobody heard it.
It shouldn't be DLC, and it's not going to be. They just didn't want to animate it, and they made a dumbass reason. And
Pretty
I think
much.
that's the works.
All right, then.
That's the thing, though, as well, is that they have animated it because it's in the CGI. They already got those models. There are already female models in the game. It's a bullshit excuse, and we all know it's a bullshit excuse. And I'm going to go out and say it because I don't care if I upset Ubisoft, because I'm not playing their games anymore anyway.
If Coffee Stain Studios can 3D animate a goat, then Ubisoft can animate a woman.
Exactly.
Don't they have female NPCs?
In
There were female assassins in the last game. Like, you
Well-
could hire assassins.
there are female characters in Assassin's Creed Unity, so there are female character models that exist.
Isn't it funny as well that all the female characters are in like the handheld like offshoot games,
Yes.
whereas it's all male assassins in the main console and PC releases?
Yes.
That Castlevania game that did really bad. The only female Belmont.
Well, now, let's actually, I think Lone added something to this card that I do want to talk about a little bit while we're talking about AAAs versus indies. There's also the perception of meeting these developers in person, and somebody who I feel doesn't exactly help that might, in general, be cosplayers, but Lone, what was it you said during BlizzCon? I think it's pretty close to a direct quote. It says, "Oh, look, there's Jessica Negri getting her tits out again. I'm getting so sick of this."
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit bored of Jessica Negri with her massive bazingas flying everywhere. And I'm sorry, I find it quite hilarious that her sex tape has been leaked now. I find that hilarious.
But I don't think that things like that help their perception any either, because, people want to make this argument that there are female gamers, they're no different than male gamers, and then we see like what is touted as one of the examples of a top female gamer, and what's she doing?
Getting her tits out.
Yep. Nico?
Listen, hun, it's not worth the money. Just go. Just play your games and be happy instead of waving your tits at everyone. It's okay. It's okay to have tits.
All right. Scarlett?
I'm sorry, Nico, you've just cursed me out. I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I mean, like, I don't know, I'm not a cosplayer, but do you normally pick characters that you tend to resemble, that you feel a soul connection with here, or is it just the case of the character she chooses to play has their tits out? I have a feeling by what you guys said, it's probably not. She's not playing to her body type. She's just because sex sells.
Well, that's the thing. Some of her using
It does
Jessica
depend on
Negri.
the person, though.
If she's watching this, which I doubt she did because we're too small fry for her, but Jessica Negri, some of her best cosplay are the ones when she's put her tits away. Her Assassin's Creed cosplay was fantastic. Her Doctor Who, female Doctor Who, is amazing.
So she does do non-tit.
Yeah.
Is it just a case of though she does like tits out and tits covered? Is it just a case of the tits out one get more coverage?
It got.
Then again,
Go ahead,
go
Nico.
on, Dan.
Go.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is, I said cosplaying depends on the person, but not only that. Some people see someone's tits on, and they're like, "Oh no, now they're doing it for attention," or "I'm getting sick of seeing women wear these very revealing costumes." When usually the fact that they do is because the character is dressed like that to begin with.
I think I think what makes it a little, what probably irritates Lone and me a little bit more, is it got really out of control with Lollipop Chainsaw.
Now, funnily
Uh,
enough, actually, I don't mind that because, like Neko said, that was actually the costume.
I know, but after that, it's just gone downhill.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. Her the Charizard costume that she's got is just wow.
Oh, is that those Halloween bunny ear type?
Basically,
Sexy Pokemon costume.
yeah.
That's just
Sexy Ebola nurse costume.
Those very words should not be in a sentence.
No.
Sexy Pokemon costume. There you go.
Just sexy Pokemon, you've lost me. I'm like, okay,
You know-
now we're
Do
now.
I need to grab a
stepping
Google link? Do I need
No.
to grab a
What actually,
No,
but
no.
what actually gets me the most is that some other news outlets, cough, Kotaku, cough, are constantly, you go on their website to actually read an article, which is something that I try not to do anyway. But on the side is always at least 2 articles linked of Jessica Nigri with her tits out. I'm getting bored of it.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm just looking in my games list here, and I'm just the contrast between certain characters here, or certain portrayals. Mirror's Edge, main protagonist, kicks ass.
Yeah.
Then Portal and Portal 2, main protagonist.
I did hear that Chell was actually voted the most influential female character a couple of years ago because of the fact she's a woman, she kicks ass, and she doesn't have to get tits out to do it.
And she never says a word while she does it.
But there you
No,
go.
but
Ty.
then again, you've got Freeman doing that as well in Halo.
Yeah.
I know.
And Link barely speaks as
But-
well. There are quite a few characters that are silent.
I like that though, because it allows you to imprint more on your character, and I think that they more yourself in the character. I think that it's a good thing in Portal because she is a female character, and it allows, like, Shelby really, really loved Portal because of that. She really did. But for just a second,
What Valve developers did though was that the fact that they kept their characters silent so that you could imprint yourself on
Yep.
it easier.
and then right below that, Resident Evil 4. Who's the main antagonist?
Leon,
Who's he trying to rescue?
Claire.
The president's daughter. And how is she portrayed? As being completely and utterly helpless.
God! I have to be saved from these evil brain-eating zombies.
There's
Then again, he is the president's daughter, and they wanted to make her as spoiled bratish as possible.
Okay, well, let's talk about the fact that they programmed in a special reaction for where she yells at you if you climb down a ladder and peek up her skirt.
That's an anime thing. I can't help anyone with that.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
again, this goes back to Capcom Japan.
The fact
True.
that they expected the characters to do that as well.
Yep.
that's
Poison is Capcom USA.
Yeah. Now, I think another couple in here that I find interesting. Remember Me. We can talk about the character in Remember Me ad nauseum.
Well, actually, you can because you're the only one in the world who's ever played that game.
All right, she's your standard style female character. When you're playing her, she's a complete and total badass. When it switches to a cutscene, she's suddenly weak and helpless and stereotypical.
You need Metroid Other M?
Yes. And then, probably my favorite example on this little list, Rex Rocket, because you remember one of the things that we loved, Sai and I, about Rex Rocket was Rob was just like, you know what? I'm just going to make a female model of the main character, and you can just choose at the beginning. He had no good reason for doing it. He's just like, I felt like making the female model. So he even named them Rex and Rexana.
Rexana.
That's Rob. But, you know, I like the fact that, like, as I go through my games list, I can name off, you know, like, just look at these games, and there's a lot of female characters, a lot of male characters, and then there's Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed, which is actually okay. But I'm just shuddering thinking about Sonic Boom.
Supersonic Racing.
Please no, Nico. For those one,
You've got a beautiful singing voice. Sing to me when I
Thank you.
for those wondering, I wasn't insulting Nico's singing voice. This is the day that the Sonic Boom reviews are coming out when we're recording. So
And Dime is really looking forward to doing his.
time. You'll be okay.
So
I'm so
Try not to
sorry.
hit the
I'll
So-
camera
dig
again.
out your grave.
here's a game I want to talk about as far as the gender portrayal thing. Who's played BioShock Infinite?
I
Play Bioshock, not the
haven't, but I've
Infinite.
watched it.
Oh, Nico's watched it. Do you guys know a lot about it?
I know enough about Elizabeth that I don't care.
I played Bioshock, not the Infinite.
Now, I find it interesting the dichotomy between Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite and Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite's DLCs. Because in the DLCs, she is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
But her normal
They've
one,
done
she's
that on
just cool
purpose.
and awesome.
Also, to not to make a point and not to, this really is not spoilers because the game's been out for so long, but the fact that basically at the end of BioShock Infinite, Elizabeth basically murders her own father, creating a giant time paradox. Yeah, creating
God, Dad,
Oh my
ruining
God,
the game.
Anyways,
Yeah.
the fact that Elizabeth, who's been helping you the whole game and acting scared, basically kills her father, creates a giant time paradox, and then just steps out of the universe.
And,
Have you ever
and
kissed a
even
woman
then,
What, Nico?
Elizabeth literally is like leading you towards your goal. Because when you think about it, she gives you ammo, she heals you, she's still in battle, and she's
you-
not like this helpless creature that you have to take care of.
Well, if you think about it, though, the entire time Elizabeth is leading you towards where all the time paradoxes connect, so she can kill you and get rid of them.
Pretty
Dun
much.
dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun. Booker, you've created a time paradox.
All right, so I kind of want to let's get some final thoughts here because this was the intro show. The next show is going to kind of get into some real topics. We've got a couple things. So, do you guys think that the indies or the AAAs are doing it better? Because we just ran down a whole list of things. I think, in my opinion, that we see a more diverse set of options from the indies. But I think that the AAA guys, especially as we've mentioned, Capcom, BioWare, Gearbox, I think that they have more of an impact because the games reach more people.
Yeah, I think you're about right on that. The indies can basically do what they want because, well, they're not tied to a publishing house. Whereas the AAAs, I think there's a massive difference between, and it comes down to East and West again. There's a massive difference in each indie house, each AAA house. The difference between Capcom Japan and Capcom America is massive, of course.
Yes.
So even within the AAA publishing houses, there's a massive difference.
You're getting your collar taken off. There.
Scarlett?
I think at the end of the day, they're both going to take cues from each other. Like, once you come up with a winning type of game style or concept, it's going to be repeated because it's a good idea. And I think it's up to sort of both developers to try and push the boundaries of what is like normal gaming. In order to do that, I do think though, because indies do have sort of they've got less ties, they can be more independent. They're not going to get their ideas shut down by a massive group who just want to make it. They're probably going to be on the cutting edge of that, and I do think sort of the AAA titles should be looking at them closer.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Nico?
Well, I gotta admit that indies aren't chained down, but AAA's they'll try to do this big thing, but they also are held back because they're worried about people won't buy the game if there's different not just different genders, if there's transgender or pansexual, all that stuff. And it's a really sad thing because games are the medium that teaches kids nowadays. They teach things that this is okay, this is normal. It's not supposed to be a big giant thing. It disappoints me to see that it's not a thing.
Very good point.
Very, very good point, Nico.
We need a Grand Theft Auto with a female lead.
Yes.
Like Saints Row, you can be a fat, naked old lady.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Black. Who's black and with a man voice.
You go around like slapping male bitches.
I'm gonna beat you
Dildos.
upside your ass.
That's
Not racist. Oh.
Saints Row is absolutely a fantastic point in case though, because it is a game where they just say create your own character and be whatever the hell you want to. We need more stuff like that, or like And this is kind of going to be my version of the indies versus AAA. We need more stuff like what Saints Row or Gearbox are doing, and we also need more stuff like what Pumpkin Online is doing. Pumpkin Interactive, they're creating an MMO that is, you can be anything you want to in that game. The character creator is absolutely going to be insane because it doesn't have like the little presets you normally have for female or male. You set everything. So, and that's their entire intention with the game is to have it be, you know, this kind of. In fact, talking to them is one of the things that originally sparked the very early idea for this show. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, so this is something we've been talking about since their indie game show.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it. It's just when Shelby decided that we were doing it that we decided to do it.
Pretty much.
Because Shelby says.
Where is the Shelby? Shelby should show her face.
She is raging at Assassin's Creed Unity right now.
Okay, we'll leave her to it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, next time that we come back, we will be talking about, in particular, 2 games and the varying of portrayals they have of female characters. So those are going to be Tomb Raider, including the originals and the remake, and Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2. So I want to thank Scarlet Dragon, Lonesamurai, and Nekokitwolf for joining me. My name, as always, is Digmbot. Hey guys, if you want to follow this show or see anything else that I'm up to, hit like and subscribe. Coming up, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you next time.